Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, being since after 12. I am having a hard time doing a video this morning, mostly because factor I've got a lot of thoughts. I know today is supposed to be a day of rest, but my brain is at war right now. Being the cup of coffee that I've already finished off is working its magic in my brain. And I gotta slow down because I'm starting to yawn because I'm not breathing in enough oxygen. I'm too busy with my talking. Oh, the reason why it's taking me this long to do a video is a combination of waking up, getting my brain cleared out. I tried to do a video before, but it was way too long, so I was like, no, I'm not putting out a video that's almost an hour and a half long. Because I got distracted by two different comments. One comment was from Nelly on my channel, which was basically a beautiful channel of beautiful message talking about how she was enjoying the readings and whatnot. She also asked what my next book or adventure would be after reading American Cozy. And being as I'm barely to the halfway point, I really don't know. I've got several different books that have to do with Vikings and whatnot that I want to read, and maybe talk to you guys about, because there's the Poetic Eddas, which is basically the different sagas or stories about the Nordic people. The thing is I haven't even started reading it yet, so I don't even know if it's a book that I want to talk to you guys about, because I don't know the formula or format or wording or anything like that. Because I know poetic, the whole idea of poetic is just poetry, and I don't know if I can do that because I'm not a very poetic person. I was hoping to get some other books on the various Nordic sagas, because the Nordic sagas are actually how the history of the Nordic people were written down by various groups, or some of them were written by the Saxons that the Nordic people raided. Some of them were actually written by Nordic poets of the time, or Nordic history, and they did their history in story form. So I mean, there's quite a few of them that I've seen on Amazon that I want to get a hold of, like the whole saga of Ragnar Lothbrok, which was a real person that the History Channel turned into a series of shows, which I'm almost at the end of. I don't know if I want to finish that. Just like when I finished when Supernatural ended, I was kind of like, oh, really? And same with what was my other favorite show that I ended, that I was kind of like, oh man, there's so many different offshoot stories that they can create. Grimm. That was an NBC series way back in the mid 2000s. I don't remember when it last aired. I've been like literally watching the episodes like back to back, literally just like I can't think of the term now, but anyhow. And then there was a comment that was on my wife's channel that I started talking about, and I just kind of went, I might explain myself. If this guy thinks I'm paranoid, great. You know why? Most people who know paranoid people are leery of paranoid people because they can be unpredictable and scary at the same time. So I just kind of went, okay, go ahead, think I'm paranoid. But anyhow, I want to get into this. This is, I'm going to be reading about home offices, dens, and libraries. Anyhow, she says for home office is, if you are an entrepreneur or work in a freelance capacity, you may have a home office. Perhaps you have an entire room dedicated to your office, or you have carved out a office from the corner of your bedroom or living room. Regardless where your home office is located, here are ideas to help you make a tranquil space. First one she says is remove TVs and gaming consoles as well as any other distraction. Well, that may be a difficulty in the living room because that's where most people gather to watch TV, unless you have a family room or a media room or a specific room for family to gather together to watch TV. Gaming consoles, again, are usually attached to TVs. If your living room is the main space for everybody to come together to play, watch TV, goof off, whatever, the living room may be a difficult place for a home office. Now, your bedroom, on the other case, because of the fact that it's your bedroom, you can close it off. You can control what happens in that room, because unless you're allowing your kids to come into your bedroom and bounce around and goof off while you're in there, then that might be a distraction. That, in fact, it is suggested not to have a TV in the bedroom because it makes it harder for you to fall asleep while you're watching TV or playing games. Now, for me and my wife, that won't be a problem because, well, we plan on putting the gaming systems in our bedroom for one reason or another. I might temporarily have one of the gaming systems out in the living room for Emily if she comes with her kids. Next one is keep your desk clean. Different systems work for different people. I like to take 5 minutes at the end of each day to reorder paperwork, toss anything I don't need, and dust anything that needs to be dusted. It's a good thing. You want to try to keep your desk area as tidy as possible. Right now, because we're still in the process of doing things in this room, my desk area is not 100% the way I want it to be. So I'm kind of like, all right, I gotta work on it, figure out what to do, things like that. Let's see here. Make sure your chair feels good. If an ergonomic chair is what you need, get one. If a special old-fashioned wooden swivel chair feels wonderful, then use it. An uncomfortable chair will ensure you won't spend much time working. True. I've been there. Chair that I'm currently using is comfortable, except for the fact that I slide in it because it's an all leather chair. It has no upholstery or fabric. So every so often I feel myself sliding in the chair. I have to adjust myself. So like right now I'm sliding. So if I were to use the arms to sit up, put this cushion in the right spot, I'm comfortable and I don't feel like I'm sliding. Choose quiet. Use a white noise machine if you need to create a noise buffer from the rest of the home. Well, that's good to a certain point, because let's say you don't have to worry about kids. You don't have to worry about family members who might need your assistance. You don't want to make so much white noise that you don't hear an emergency situation for you to jump up and find out what's going on. You do want to create enough white noise where the TV in the other room or kids playing video games loudly, or outside noises that could distract you. You want a little bit of a white noise situation. Right now I have a air purifier and an oscillating fan running. Both of those create a little bit of white noise. It also creates cool air and clean air. So if you choose to have a white noise machine or something like that, find something that is not only beneficial to the environment of your room, but also makes enough white noise or humming fan type sounds to lessen the exterior noises. One of the things I thought about doing to help create a little bit of white noise and also help me concentrate, but at the same time it might put me in one of my I'm going to fall asleep type moods, was like the sound of rain or waves or a thunderstorm or something like that calms me down, but it also can put me to sleep. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that. That might be a little too difficult or distracting or overcalming. Next one she says is make sure you have enough lighting. Use bright bulbs and install ceiling or wall mounted lights if needed. Now she doesn't say anything about like lamps. In fact, most of what I've read so far in this book is she's really not into lamps. And I can understand, because if you're a mother of 2 kids and a couple fur babies, there's a chance lamps can fall over and break. Well, in this room, I'm thinking of adding maybe 3 lamps. 2 of them for just ambiance, because I found bulbs that I can use that create a flickering effect like a candle. So I wanted to use 2 lamps for that purpose. But I was also thinking of a arm lamp or desk lamp that I can use to focus light over my area so I can turn off the hi-hats. These hi-hats, as I call them, these in the ceiling type lighting, the bulbs are nice and bright, but they also create a heat element. Now, during the wintertime, that's nice to create a heat element, but during the summertime, especially since my office den space is on a south facing part of the house, it is warm. It keeps this room warm all year round. In the wintertime, that's not too bad, because the fact that I get the warmth of the central air or central heat. But during the summertime, because the light hits these windows just right, and these are big double pane windows, it amplifies the heat coming into this room. Now, these curtains are supposed to be specialized curtains that basically help block the heat, but since they let in the light, I don't know how well they block the heat. I know last year, before we started changing this room into my den, and we closed the vent so the air would not come into this room and cool off this room, because we didn't use this room. Coming into this room, I would be like, oh, it is warm in here. And that's why I don't have that all year tree in this room no more, because when I went to clean out this corner and fix it up, and remove the metal filing cabinet, which is now over in a very easily accessible area so I can put my tools in there, the one of the legs started to warp and bend because of the excess heat. Now, when that tree was in this corner originally, it was on a round, small coffee table type deal, or side table. So there was no extra like heat from the metal. It was just the heat coming in from the heat and sunlight coming in from the window. So, yeah. Anyhow, next one down is decorate sparingly. Posters, wall art, and knickknacks on your desk are distracting. Visually distracting, excuse me. I agree. When I get done with this room and redecorate and rearrange the way I want it to, because right now it's kind of partially the way I want it, partially it's just waiting to be finished with the decorating part. Take the H hutch, put it in the bedroom, like I planned. We went through the Harry Potter stuff, so right now they're temporarily being stored out of the way. They're not a big distraction because I know what they are, and I know they're temporary until we can get a shed to put them outside. But I have some artwork and decor that I want to put in this room that to me will not be visually distracting. I have 3 pieces of wall hangings that I'm going to put up that look like faux brick walls. I want those hanging up on at least this big wall, because then it will look more like a castle wall or medieval style looking wall. And this is the wall I'm talking about. That wall right there that has my wife's grandmother's portrait on. So there's a, whoops, somehow got that tilted. So there's a few things that we're working on still, which, hey, hopefully by the end of the summer, before the major holidays hit, everything will be done. Now, on my bookshelf in front of me, I have a few pieces of art and whatnot on the bookcase, and they're not distracting to me. Now, there's 3 items on that lower part of the bookcase that I cannot see right now that are battery operated, lit up snowmen. The thing is, they will be somewhat distracting if I leave them on because they're color changing, so they slowly strobe through various winter, Christmas type colors. So, there's a few things that I'm going to decorate with, I'm going to try out. If they are too distracting, I will probably remove them or relocate them or whatnot. But right now, none of it's distracting. The little ducks aren't distracting. My shelf with some tchotchkes and decor is not distracting. My upper shelf with 2 different types of light up objects. Actually 3 if you want to consider the little gnome lantern guy. And then my faux or fake axe that Jerry made me for Halloween one time as a costume accessory. Next one she says is, do not use shades of gray in your office. In office, gray and gray kiss colors. In the office, gray and gray kissed colors create a depressing feeling that can distract you from your projects. I'm going to agree to disagree on that because these walls in here are a gray undertone. The coloring is, except for the ceiling, the coloring is almost medieval in look because most Nordic medieval Viking age, Renaissance age decor was either an off-white or gray or brown coloring because they were natural tones. And that's what this wall reminds me of. It's more of natural medieval Renaissance Viking era tones. So, and I don't feel depressed by the color. I really don't. I don't feel any negative coloring, and this is the reason why. One, I think of it as a natural gray tone. 2, depending on how the light hits it, depends on what shade of gray. Like when up here I have sunlight coming through, and it looks like a blue-gray. But over here I have a lot of shadow, so it looks like a charcoal or dark gray. To me, that's a natural color. I have no problem with that. It does not cause any distress or negative emotions. That and a factor of the way I plan on decorating with like the red curtains, the Nordic tapestry, which I wish I can find another one that looked different than this one to hang up on a different wall. That and a factor, I'm gonna put up decor and whatnot that is Nordic, Renaissance, natural nature type motifs, like something I dug out of the Harry Potter stuff. It's a snowy owl. I love owls. I love the coloring of this little guy. He's going to be sitting on the buffet or some other point. This is out of Jarian's Harry Potter stuff because she had what was called an owlery, which basically had owls of different sizes and well, most of them were like snowy owls. I have little wolf-like figurines laying around somewhere. I might have put it in the drawers out there that are going in various locations. I have ducks of various colors and types that my father-in-law had that everybody was like, yeah, you can have those. And I'm like, yeah, well, okay. Nobody else was a nature person like I was, so they were like, yeah, you like nature, take it. Just like the fish that I showed in one video, it's something that he carved that Jan wanted them, but they're going to end up decorating this room. So a lot of people might think that I have a dark, moody personality because I'm interested in the eras of history that were dark and moody, like the Viking era. The Renaissance era wasn't really dark and moody. They had a lot of festival colors and but they were very like a lot of fights over territory and countries and all that fun stuff. But just because I have that personality and that joy and like does not mean I'm a negative person. It just means I happen to like a certain part of history that had a lot of hand-to-hand bloody combat, but they also had their romantic parts, and they had their festival parts, and their beautiful architectural castles and that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyhow, this next section is on dens and libraries. And she says here, few homes in Denmark have a den or library. If you, however, are fortunate enough to have one of these rooms, here are some tips for making it an oasis of calm, which is what I'm trying to do in here. This will be my oasis of calm once it's done. And no, this stuff packed up here does not change the calmness. In fact, because of the fact that I know what's going on, I don't worry about it. Anyhow, cut visual clutter. Books are interesting to look at. Shelves and shelves of books are even more interesting. Go easy on the wall art and avoid cluttering shelves, desks, and tables with knickknacks. I don't have a lot of knickknacks, so they will be spread out throughout the room. Wall art, same. I don't have a lot of wall art, so it'll be spread out. There'll be some changes here and there. Anyhow, excuse me. Itchy nose. Keep books with their spines facing out. Well, I love that she put that in there because I guess she's ran into a couple homes that don't always do that. To me, that's kind of like, duh, common knowledge there. Not to be rude. But yeah, if you don't have the spines of the books out, how do you know what book it is? If you're looking for a particular book and the spine is not facing out for you to find it, how do you know what book you're looking at? So, yeah. Next thing she says here, which is kind of very smart because not everybody does this. Repair, replace, or discard books, documents, or other damaged items. Having a room of ripped or stained books is more distracting than calming. I agree. Because if you're looking at a book and all you see is a tore up spine, or a spine that's been basically bent and damaged beyond recognition, that you cannot read the actual book title or book and author or whatever, it's kind of like a distraction because you're like, oh man, I can't tell what book that is I'm looking for. Where is it? I don't know. Oh man, I've got a bunch of books that the spine is all tore up and I can't read the author or the title of the book. It's a real annoyance. So yeah, I would either replace it or discard it. I don't know how much it would cost to repair some of these books. Then in fact, there's one book that I do not have out on display because it's a very old bird book that my uncle gave me that was my grandfather's. And I'm like, I don't want to damage this book. I briefly looked at it to go, oh wow, this is like an original Audubon type book from the early 1900s. I don't want it to damage. I don't want it to get ruined. I wrapped up in a plastic bag, tied up the plastic bag, and I set it off to the side so it won't get damaged, dusty, tore, whatever. So, I don't know who's going to inherit it from me because I don't have any kids of my own. My uncle had a son, but he was not interested in the book. He's not a big nature person. Vacuum and dust often. Of course, you want to keep your sanctuary, as I'm going to call it, as clean as possible. Because last thing you want to do is go into your calming space, your little sanctuary, and start working on a project, but all of a sudden your nose or whatnot is getting all congested because it's too dusty and it's got too much. You haven't vacuumed in who knows how long, and there's a buildup of all the different things that get built up in your carpet, your dust mites, your pollens, your allergens, your icky, cruddy, microscopic, bleh, don't even want to think about it, stuff that's living in your carpeting. It's one of the reasons why I probably wear socks all the time, because it's like, as cold as the hardwood floor is, that's one reason why I wear socks. But the other reason is you have no idea what's getting on your skin when you step on that carpeting. It's just, I don't want everybody to go, oh man, he's right, let's all go out and buy tons of socks to wear all the time. It's just that's me. I am weird about stuff like that. Make sure the lighting is strong enough to read by. Again, I don't have to worry about that because I have these hi-hats. And I want to get a couple lamps because I don't want to use these hi-hats all the time for two reasons. One, during the summertime, especially during the summertime, you don't realize how much heat your overhead lights, like these big heavy-duty hi-hats. In fact, let me see if I can get one of those into one of them. Their bulbs are huge, even though the watting is not that high, but they're up there in the ceiling. And what else is up there in the ceiling besides your electrical wiring and whatnot? Insulation. So you have the hi-hat with insulation wrapped around it, even though all the wiring is contained in a casing or whatnot, so there's no chance of sparking a fire. That, in fact, a lot of the insulation that I've seen up there is the fire-resistant style insulating. It produces heat, and that heat has to go somewhere. Well, besides the factor that it's already hot up there in the attic space, in the upper parts of your house. Even if it's not attic, it's open air, and the air from that side is coming inside through the venting and whatnot. It helps basically keep your house airy, but it's hot air during the summertime. So the only other place that air has to go to, since all the air around it is already hot, is into your home. Those lights amplify the heat that's coming into your house. So it's one of those kind of like, I want to get lamps. The lamps, depending on the lamps and the kind of bulbs I put in the lamps, won't produce that much heat. That in a factor because I want it to be an open air renaissance, more natural lighting than artificial lighting. I want, excuse me, nose hair is getting to me. I want to get like one or two lamps for behind me with specialized bulbs that look like candles. They flicker like a candle. Then I want like maybe one decent lamp that's either a desk light that I can manipulate to put it where I want to give me lighting for reading. Anyhow, that's my opinion on lighting though. But yeah, you need a good enough, strong enough light to read by, because I've tried to read with dim light in bed so I don't disturb Jerry. It does not always work that well. The next one down is provide comfortable seating so people can literally curl up with a good book. Right now, the seating that I have planned for this room is these, whoops, you can't see them, is these white chairs that we had originally bought from IKEA to replace chairs that we needed for our dining room in New York. Right now, they've got boxes of stuff that we want to put in a shed. Jerry Ann went through it last night to try to organize it and repack it and whatnot, and I gotta check that box. That box looks like it's leaving too much. I'm not exactly happy with it, but at the same time, because I know I ain't gonna go very far unless I muck around with it. Jerry went through it last night. This box right here is art stuff that we might use in here, except for some of the wall clings and whatnot. But there's a few things in there that I'm going to use out of those boxes. Not much though, because most of it is Harry Potter type motif, and not all Harry Potter type stuff will work in a Renaissance, medieval, Viking nature type decor that I'm planning. So it's kind of like one of those, but she's not really keen on, most of it she doesn't want to get rid of, for one reason or another. So it's like, whatever. I don't argue with her about her stuff, and as long as it's not a mess, clutter, or anything like that. When it's like this, I don't worry about it because it's not like all over the place like it was before we cleaned it up. She did get rid of a few items, and there was a few items that I was like, ooh, I could use that. I could use that. Two of the items that I pulled out that are sitting out and about are owls. You know. The one thing that is, I don't know where I'm going to put it. It was originally supposed to be a footrest, but one of the legs is not all that strong, not all that stable. Big old giant wolf. This is mine. Actually, Jerry got it for me because she knew how much I love wolves and thought that I could use it back in New York as a footrest, and I never did. Especially because that one leg, there's one leg that is not really firmly secure, and if you push on it the wrong way, it pops right out of its housing because the legs, you had to screw the legs on, and that one leg is just like, nope. Either the screw that was supposed to go into got pushed into the body of the wolf, or the screw itself is not secure. Let's just put it that way. It's very loosey-goosey. The last one she has on here is make the room screen-free, which basically she means no TVs, no computer monitors, no digital, no digital devices that can be distracting. Now, I have my phone. My phone is my camera. It is part of one of the tools that I use for doing my videos. I do not have a computer or TV or any other kind of screen in here. Now, I get enough distractions because of flickering lights outside from cars passing by, or sounds outside of my house because of my ADD. When my hyperactivity and ADHD is at odds or amplified for whatever reason, I get very easily distracted by sound, movement, flashes of light, things of that nature. Because the way I try to set up my desk or my area, I have focus points. The tapestry behind me is a focus point. The American Cozy book sitting on the desk, because I want to talk about it, is a focus point. The flickering candles off to my left, I know what they are. I know what their purpose is and why I do it. They're not a distraction. They're actually an anti-distraction, because depending on what flickers or what kind of lighting or time of day, I can sit there and go, oh, that's just the candles. I can fool my brain into saying, oh, that's just the candles, no reason to go look. The days that I'm super hyper or super amped up, anything can be a trigger for a distraction. And if I know the flickering candles are going to be a distraction, I won't light them. Problem is, if I don't light them and I know I didn't light them, a flashlight can be a trigger. So yeah, there's that one person who was like, oh, he must be nervous, or I forget exactly what the wordings were, but they were not exactly, intelligent, because the fact that if the person had watched all my videos, and this is why I always reiterate my problems or my mental health issues, is to let you guys know that just because I'm like glancing over my shoulder or acting paranoid, or what, that's the word he used, paranoid. It's not paranoia. It's ADHD with hyperactivity on overload. And yes, I look to the side instead of directly at the camera from time to time because I'm trying to reorganize my thoughts. Just like now. I forgot where I was going. Oh, but all that aside, I am slowly getting my stuff together so I can start to decorate in here. But like I said, the decorations probably won't happen for a good week or three, or not until August, depending on what we can get done Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before Lisa gets here. So starting Thursday, we're gonna focus on the bedrooms and try to get those dealt with before Lisa gets here, so we can hopefully have our room, our main room, situated so whomever can sleep in there, and then we can get the guest room situated so whoever can sleep in there. The one thing we're waiting for, the one thing that we've got to decide, which I got to try to do later on today or tomorrow, is go into our storage closet, utility room, whatever you want to call it, on the outside of the house, and pull out the boxes of flooring that was left from the kitchen project to see if we have enough to do in the bedroom. And if we do, we can do the bedroom ourselves. If we don't, we're going to have to either go out and buy some more of those tiles or decide what we want to put in the bedroom. I was kind of surprised that Jerry Ann wanted to continue the same coloring that's in the main part of the house into our room. I figured she'd want to go out and buy different color floor tiling, whether it was hardwood floor tiling or the peel and stick that we used at 481 in New York. Sorry, I heard a loud noise outside of my house and thought something had gone wrong, like somebody was messing around with the mailbox. But I can see my flag is whipping pretty good in the wind, which means we've got windstorms coming. Speaking about weather, we had been forewarned earlier this week by the National Weather Services that according to their maps and radar and whatnot, we could get some severe windstorms and possible tornadoes in the month of July. And I just kind of went, Now if we're going to Texas, because I don't want to be in Texas and find out Raleigh got hit by a tornado and have to call up here or race up here to make sure Mom's safe. Mom is usually pretty good on her own when we're not around. She does take care of herself. Her meals, she plans out her meals beforehand so she can decide what kind of groceries she needs to buy or what she can make for her meals, which is great. I mean, I like doing the same thing, but sometimes we don't always follow those meal plans because of whatever. But anyhow, let me end this so I can spend some time with Jerry. She might think I'm probably in here fixing up this my desk area, which I thought about doing, but I don't know what I plan on doing today. I haven't gotten those thoughts yet. But anyhow, if you enjoyed this little video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I will address them to the best of my ability, whether I just heart them, leave a quick text, or actually do a Q&A, which I love doing. I've had some great questions from Nellie, and I think Sheila has left a couple questions, as well as a few others. Some of them I talk about on camera, some of them I just answer right there and then. But yeah, you can put your questions and comments in the box. If you're new to my channel and want to subscribe with all my idiocies and issues and yeah, the person you see in front of the camera, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And once you do that, a little bell will pop up from YouTube. You click on that bell and YouTube will let you know when my next video is put out. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.